Hey, I'm Evan, and that's Larry, and we're doing a project on underground music. Okay, Larry, what is underground music to you?
Underground music. Underground music is it's a genre kind of made by the musicians. It's, a lot of the scene is bands, be it punk, hardcore, indie, anything, that really the music is for themselves and just for fun. A lot of their attention in their music isn't towards the, producers or the big companies that try to make them popular and try to make them money. They do it a lot for themselves and just for the fun of music and just for making art in general.
Yeah. So a lot of the genres for underground music include stuff like indie, punk, post-rock, hardcore, so many others like, post-emo, post-punk.
Anything pre or post you could think of.
Exactly. That's going to probably be underground music.
All around the United States, post-rock and post-hardcore is thriving in the underground and club scene.
And all over the country, there are musicians playing house parties or clubs or small venues for any number of people. It could be in the hundreds, it could be in the teens, it could be any amount of people. It could be recording from anywhere from cramped bedrooms to small studios to top-line recording artist studios.
Little dorm rooms.
Exactly.
Like this one.
Putting their stuff out on SoundCloud,
iTunes,
Bandcamp,
what's that other one? Spotify.
YouTube even.
Even YouTube.
Yeah. They push a lot of their work out to the public by using social networking sites such as Facebook or Twitter. Even Tumblr and Reddit help.
These bands don't always get the opportunity to have their time in the limelight, but it doesn't mean that they don't have an impact on music today. These small bands have a dedicated cult following and spawn many other bands to follow them in keeping the subculture alive in music today.
So one of my favorite bands is the Black Keys. They are a small indie rock band, originally from Ohio. It's made up of frontman and guitarist Dan Arbach and drummer Pat Carney. In 2001, they started their band together by just jamming out in their garage, just trying to make some cool music. And from there, they recorded their own first album on an 8-track recorder in Pat's basement. What they did is they sent out their album to several different indie labels to find someone that would sign them and get their career started. After many years of extensive touring, playing small club shows, and then making a bunch of appearances at festivals such as Bamboozle, then regularly distributing new albums just every few years, they rose from a small garage rock band to indie legends. Between 2011 and 2013, the Black Keys were nominated for 12 Grammys, and of those 12, they won 7, including the Best Rock Album and Best Rock Song of the Year. This would be huge for any other artist, but especially for a band with an upcoming like this, it's huge. They were able to influence so many new young musicians with their music. By getting themselves out there like that, they have spawned so many other small garage rock bands.
Although the chances of a band becoming as famous as the Black Keys in the underground scene is pretty slim, it's not really the mindset of the musicians to become famous and make a lot of money. A lot of it is for themselves and for the sake of making music. Now, when playing a concert or a show, most musicians like to, put on a show or dance around on stage while playing, and it's not necessarily for the entertainment of the crowd. But these sweet dance moves aren't really for the people watching, but more for the musicians to express themselves and enjoy music, with themselves and the rest of the members of the band.
So last week I went to a concert at the basement of this friend of a friend's house, where a bunch of local bands were coming out to play. The crowd was amazing. It was just a lot of college students. It caused for a really relaxing and intimate environment where everyone was just having fun and making some really cool music. While I was there, I met one of the drummers for the bands I was playing, and I talked with him about the music style that they have. It was really ambient, kind of melodic sort of punk music. The bass player, who's also the vocalist, had a very beautiful kind of simplistic and smooth kind of feel to his bass playing. It was kind of a melodic undertone to what the bass was playing. And the drummer was the one that brought everyone all together. He would play this flowing rhythm that tightened everything in the band together in a really cool way. He talked about playing shows like the one that I was at, with a lot of high school and college students getting together, having a good time. It's usually in a cramped basement or a small club venue, with an intimate crowd. The crowd sizes range from anywhere to 10 to 50 to 100 people. When I asked him why they started the band, he kind of laughed a little bit and then said, "Honestly, we're all just a bunch of friends who like to get together and get stoned and jam," and thought, "Hey, why not make a band?" And even though that's kind of funny, that's just how a lot of these bands start out. From there, they made a Facebook page to promote their upcoming shows and any music that they're going to put up anytime soon. They also use it to network with other musicians in small venues and promoters.
So I went to see the Smith Westerns and Vampire at a small venue in Philly not too long ago, and I caught up with the, I think, guitarist and vocalist from the band Vampire while the Smith Westerns were on stage, and I was talking to them, and I was asking them, how you guys doing? They're thanking me for coming out to the show and just having a good time. Ended up asking them, like, why do you do this? What drives you to make the kind of music that you do? And the response from both of them was basically them all getting together and having fun and making music that other people can enjoy, and getting together with other bands to just put on shows that people can just have fun with.
So I also conducted 2 interviews with good friends of mine from back home, Kyle and Colin McGandy, 2 kids that were in a band with me over the summer. Colin was our bassist. He's a sophomore in high school now, and Kyle is a senior in high school who is the vocalist. I just asked them some questions about underground music in general, and these were their answers. Okay, cool. So, what is underground music to you?
I guess underground music is just kind of like anything that's not like pushed down people's throats like publicly, and like anything that's just kind of like true to what that musician like thinks like they should do.
And what do you think like the goal is for a lot of these musicians?
The goal basically, I guess, would be, well, a lot of times like musicians just kind of want to please themselves and and not care about what anybody else thinks, and it's really just kind of a personal...
They're doing it for themselves rather than for...
Yeah, basically.
How would you describe your experience with like being a small like musician playing club shows and house parties?
Being in a small band like that, I guess, like, well, we went from just playing like talent shows and shit like that to basically like by the end of our career, I guess, we were kind of like putting on our own shows, and like there were bands that were playing with us, and there was sort of like a small scene, I guess. Like us and like Novation and Nautica and Poxy, like we were all like kind of in the same vein of like, hey, we all love playing music and we hate where we live, so let's just be friends and play music.
Well, basically what I think is like nowadays, it's not like it used to be with like hardcore bands. It was pretty much impossible to become successful.
Yeah.
Like, the only bands I can think of that were like hardcore bands that like managed to like stick around and make a living are like Black Flag and like the Dead Kennedys. Like bands like that, like, but that's only 2 out of like hundreds of bands.
Lou Reed.
Thousands even. Lou Reed, yeah.
Violent
like,
Femmes, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. But like with indie music now, the underground scene is actually like so big. It's way bigger than it used to be, and it's all because of like in the 90s with all like the networking that bands were doing with like as much as I don't like REM.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter, but like REM and like the Melvins and bands like that, they all networked to make this like circuit of like underground shows. Okay. And then the next thing you know, you have little labels like Sub Pop that released, Nirvana. Like, they released, this giant band, but with Sub Pop, for instance, they went from this tiny label to all this, all this big buzz around underground music that you had. Green Day, they sold like 200,000 albums, and like Operation Ivy sold 150,000 albums, and then Nirvana comes out and sells like 6 million.
Yeah.
And from that, it stems of like, if you want to get to that level, it's not that hard. You just have to really like punch it out, like, because I mean, there are people that are willing to listen to it. It's just underground music, so you got to kind of go out and like
you have to find it.
You have to go out and find it, and that means touring for years at a time and the whole deal,
So how is it that like you hear about these kind of smaller bands? Like,
It's in different ways. You can go to see a band that you've known since whatever, like, you've just known about them. Like, you heard them on, your friend told them about you, and then you go see them, and then, like, their opening band is the band, like, is that band, or even sometimes you can go outside and guys will be handing out CDs. And, like, I mean, I think that's the way to do it, is just go to a show and just hand out your CDs outside of it.
okay,
And not everyone's going to listen to it, but, like,
it'll get your name out there.
Oh, it's been recording.